Today we'll be riding the Golden Pass Express from Interlaken to Montreux. What makes this train unique is the capability to change the width of the tracks. So it can run both on the standard gauge tracks and on the narrow gauge tracks. And while this is not unique on its own, this is the only train that can do this for narrow gauge railway lines. And of course, the scenery from this train is stunning, because this is where this train ride is all about.
So join me on board of this unique track gauging train between standard gauge and narrow gauge. I mean, track gauging trains are not unique on its own, because you find them in many places in the world. But a track gauge changing train to narrow gauge is quite unique. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up if you'd like to see more trip reports about more sustainable ways of transportation, mainly focusing on cross-bordering and or in long distance traveling, then hit the subscribe button. But for now, let's roll the intro.
And our journey starts at the railway station of Interlaken Ost or Interlaken East. I arrived here with the Luzern Interlaken Express, and this train is also a part of the Golden Pass line. However, for this section you have a different train. Actually, the Luzern Interlaken Express is the only train along the Golden Pass where you find a dining car. I covered this train in another trip report about 2 years ago, so I didn't make a trip report this time. And even though I made a video already about the Golden Pass route between Interlaken and Montreux, that wasn't on the direct train, and this is something new that has been launched, well, not that long ago. Anyway, before we go to the train, let's discover the railway station of Interlaken Ost a bit. Over here you find several railway companies, for example the Benelux Oberlandbahn, and if you're traveling with Eurail or Interrail, it's not valid on those trains. You will get a discount though. However, if you use a Swiss pass, you can just hop on those trains as well. And if you have Interrail or Eurail, well, you can buy a discounted ticket. Both the train of the Benelux Oberlandbahn, but also the Zentralbahn, that's the train company for the Luzern Interlaken Express, will use narrow gauge railway lines. Apart from that, you also find standard gauge tracks, and these are basically the mainline trains. From and to Interlaken you'll find a lot of domestic trains, obviously, but there are also trains to Hamburg in Germany and to Berlin in Germany. This railway station is also the starting point for railway passengers going to the Jungfraujoch. This is the highest railway station in all of Europe. It might be interesting to go here for a future video, but well, I need someone to sponsor me for this, because the Jungfraujoch trains are really pricey. Anyway, at track number 1 you find some lockers, and a little bit more at the side from track number 1 there's a small waiting room inside, and there are some ticket counters. These are mainly for the Benelux Oberlandbahn, but I bet you can also buy other domestic railway tickets over here. At the front of the railway station there are quite some bus stops. I mean, it's still a public transportation hub. Even though the town of Interlaken has less people living here than daily passengers that will use this railway station, and this has everything to do with the touristic character of this railway station and this town. Most hotels though are located near the railway station of Interlaken West, what is about a 15-minute walk from here, but our train also goes there. Anyway, let's go back to the railway station and discover a little bit more what you can find around here. If you have too much money, you can also take a taxi, and you'll find those here on the right. But I guess if you have that amount of money to spend, you better take the train to the Jungfraujoch. I mean, I'd love to go there, and especially with the weather I had on this day, it would have been perfect. A little bit more at the side there's not a tourist information point, and you find quite a lot of maps, and especially about the trains that go up on the mountain. I think you have an impression about this railway station. I think it's also time to go to my train. What I didn't show you yet in the video though, from here you also find boats along the Brienz Lake, and these boats are being operated by the railway company BLS. That's also the railway company that will be operating the Golden Pass Express until the railway station of Zweisimmen. If you're traveling with Eurail or Interrail, you can also take those boats. And obviously, with a Swiss pass, you can do this as well. And also, if you're traveling with Interrail or Eurail, you can take the Golden Pass Express. However, I really recommend you to make a reservation, and especially if you want to travel in an excellent class or first class. Anyway, this is our train coming in, being pulled by a BLS locomotive, what is the company that is responsible for the first section of this route until the railway station of Zweisimmen. Right after that, we find our track change gauging train that will take us all the way to Montreux. There's one second class carriage at the front, and this one will only go as far as Zweisimmen. Obviously, on the numbers 1 and 2 at the side of the train, you know where the first and the second class is, and digital screens at the side will host route information, the carriage number and the final destination. So you know you're at the right carriage, especially for if you have a reservation. Even though it didn't work that well with my camera with the bright sunlight, as you can see. This trip was a part of a field trip. I am working for a tour operator, so I'm a travel agent, and this was a pre-tour of the Swiss travel market in 2023. Therefore, we were traveling in first class. Within this train, you won't just find the regular first class, but there's also prestige class. Half of our group was sitting in prestige class and the other half in the regular first class, and we swapped halfway during the ride. Anyway, between the carriages for the first class, you'll find a small pantry. Officially this is not meant to walk through, but well, I asked permission and it was allowed. There's a small pantry here, so at the moment you book your tickets, you can order some small meals as well. You cannot do this while you are on board of the train because, well, it's very tiny and small and they need to make sure they have enough things on board. For the train tour, even though I walked through a part of the first class, I'll start off by showing you the second class. This comes in a 2x2 configuration and something typically for Swiss trains. Most seats do face each other, so bay seats. However, I also found some airline style seats and I like this most. Until the railway station of Zweisimmen, there was an extra carriage attached at the front of this train with second class seats. These seats do have a magazine rack, a sturdy fold-out table in the seat in front, a coat hanger, and just like for all the other seats, you'll find the seat numbers and a small screen that will host information about the reservation right above the windows. Between the seats there were some power sockets and also USB sockets. Because most seats do face each other, between the back ends of the seats you find quite a lot of space for luggage, but also you find dedicated luggage racks throughout the train. There are no overhead luggage racks within these trains. This is a panoramic route, and even though I saw some panoramic trains that still have luggage racks above the seats and offer a great view on the surrounding areas, you won't find that over here. Doing a seat tour of one of the very few airline style seats within these trains, I don't think that's fair. So let's move on to what you find most in second class. And these are seats facing each other with a table in between. You can fold it out to make it slightly bigger, and this is really sturdy. Integrated within these tables at the side there's a small litter bin. It is not obligated to make a reservation for these trains. However, it can be really busy, especially when you're traveling in the prestige class, but also for the first class. And you travel from the beginning to the end with these trains, I highly recommend you to make a seat reservation. Also for the second class this is recommended, and especially when you're traveling in a peak season. If you make a reservation for these trains or not, this is totally up to you, but I personally recommend to do so. Otherwise, you might have to stand during the journey, or you might need to take other trains where there's more space. Of course, no train tour is complete without doing a toilet review. So here we go. These are the regular toilets on board of these trains and they're not that special. But hey, let's do a toilet review. You can change them into a diaper changing facility for babies. There's water and of course a toilet. Well, it was clean, that's most important, so I give it a thumbs up. And if you like this video or this is a helpful video to you, please give me a thumbs up on YouTube as well. Before you enter each open compartment, it has been clearly marked in what class you're entering. This here is the regular first class. Just like the second class, there are special dedicated luggage racks, but of course between the back ends of the seats you can store quite a lot of luggage. Like I already mentioned a bit earlier, a pantry is dividing the two sections of the first class. and also the section of the first class where you find the prestige class that I will show you in a bit, but first let me show you the regular first class. Just like in second class, there are some seats that do come in an airline style or long distance bus composition, and the leg room here is really generous. As a matter of fact, the table is quite far away, and without this laptop holder I think it will be a little bit too far away. Between the seats, just like in the second class, you find USB sockets and some power sockets, and the seats can be reclined with the use of this handle at the side. Most seats do face each other, and this is basically like second class. However, you have more space and the seats are a bit wider. Therefore, this comes also in a 2x1 configuration. In first class, all seats do have a personal reading light as well. Overall, so far, I really like these trains. The quality is good, the comfort of the seat is quite comfortable as well. But now let's move on to the prestige class, because I heard so many YouTubers being so extremely enthusiastic about this part of the train. And what I like most, you can have this look with the driver, but this is all depending on the driving direction. And you have quite a lot of space for luggage over here. There are no dedicated luggage racks in prestige class. However, the leg room. I know I'm a tall guy, so this is not really representative, but I expected actually more, especially for these kind of seats. I expected I could lay down more or less flat. Wow, don't get me wrong, these seats are awesome. They're really comfortable, they have a very nice and sturdy tray table within the seat. But the leg room, especially when you, go flat, I really expect it to be better. It is still a good product, don't get me wrong. What I really like is that the direction of the seats can be faced. So if you're traveling with a group of 4, you have seats facing each other, or if you want a seat in the driving direction, this is also possible. Just like in the second class and the first class, you find personal power plugs and there are also reading lights. And even though the leg room is still very generous, don't get me wrong on this. If you fully recline these seats, it's not enough. Or the other YouTubers who made videos on these trains are very tiny, I don't know. But I don't get why everybody is so enthusiastic about this. I mean, these trains are great, in all classes. But if I'm traveling first class, I just prefer the regular first class for myself. Screens at the end of all compartments, in all different classes, do host route information for these trains. Also information about the current carriage where you're in. And the actual speed will be displayed here every now and then as well. The top speed for these trains that I noticed was a little bit under 100 km per hour. I mean, this is not a fast train at all. For now, I'll just show you some views from the train and I'll get back to you at the railway station of Zweisimmen. The railway station of Zweisimmen used to be a terminal railway station, even though it's not really a terminal railway station. This is because the narrow gauge railway lines are 1000 meter wide tracks and the standard gauge tracks on 1435 mm wide railway tracks do meet here. So basically it's the end of the line for both. However, with these trains, this is not a terminal station anymore. And even though trains that are capable to change the width of the wheels to different track gauges, for example between standard gauge tracks what you find in Europe and wider Iberian gauge tracks, or the former Soviet Republic tracks, are not unique at all. I mean, what I'm showing you right here was my second trip report ever on a train from Berlin to Moscow that also has the capability to change the width of the tracks within a matter of minutes. And still, even though this is not unique at all, it is unique in that sense because the Golden Pass Express is the only train in the world so far that is doing this between the standard gauge tracks, what you find in the rest of the country and also within the rest of Europe, and narrow gauge tracks. And narrow gauge tracks are basically all railway tracks that are smaller than the standard gauge tracks. You find many different kinds of narrow gauge tracks though. What is also unique is that these trains are using a different technique than the previous techniques that are being developed by Togo. This map shows all different track gauges in the world, and in general this is a problem at borders. So still, most of the times the trains will be lifted up and new wheels will be put under the trains with the other track gauges. However, that's not necessary with these techniques if you can change it automatically. However, the trains are pricier, but the whole process saves you a lot of money and time as well. For example, in Spain, you find 3 different track gauges. The mainline trains are on broad Iberian gauge tracks, the high-speed trains on standard gauge tracks that are also going into France, and then in Spain there's a big network of narrow gauge railway lines as well, and especially in the north. By having trains that are capable to switch between the track gauges, you really create a lot of opportunities, and I think this is great. And by having now a train that can do this between standard gauge and narrow gauge railway lines, I think this is great. This also might give some great opportunities, for example in countries like Taiwan and Japan, where the high-speed trains are on standard gauge tracks and the regular trains are on narrow gauge railway lines. Within Europe, narrow gauge railway lines do mainly serve areas in mountains, but also more rural areas. Also some tram lines in some cities are using narrow gauge railway lines. Anyway, these arms at the side will be used to change the width of the wheels. And while this is happening, a little film will be displayed at the screens within the train, where this will be shown. I mean, you don't really notice that the width of the wheels will be changed. It feels a little bit like you're going through a change of the track, but well, not even that, because it goes really slow. Anyway, for now, I'll show you the views from the train between Zweisimmen and the final destination Montreux. If you are interested in a trip report and exactly these trains that I took around 2 years ago, you can find it in the description of this video. That's not with a direct train. I'll get back to you in a bit and show you the railway station of Montreux. On its way from the mountains to Montreux, what is located right at the Lake of Geneva, you have a great view on the Lake of Geneva from both the left and the right side, because the train will go like a snake up on a mountain here. The railway station of Montreux is also a point where you find connection on the mainline trains, both domestic and international. Montreux isn't big, but it's really worth visiting. For example, you can go to the studio of Freddie Mercury, also known as Queen, what is nowadays located in a casino. It's free to visit, by the way. And there are so many other things you can do over here, but I'm not making a video about that. I'm doing trip reports. So for now, let's discover the railway station of Montreux a bit. Montreux is a hilly city, and at several spots you find bus stops near the railway station, but some of these or at a way lower level than the actual railway station itself. However, at the front of the railway station there are also buses. And even though it's hilly, there's even an escalator going up from the lower parts of the city to the railway station. Right at the front of the railway station there are some ticket vending machines, some information about departing trains, and like in all Swiss railway stations, information about departing trains has been given crystal clear. You find obviously both the narrow gauge railway line tracks, this is also how I came here, and then you find the main line trains that will go, well, to this region, but you also find some trains that will go to Italy and quite some trains, also regional trains, that go to France from here. The railway station building located at the front hosts the track number 1. Also, I noticed something like the Golden Pass Experience Center. I think this is basically a ticket counter for the MOB, but this was unfortunately closed when I filmed this part of the video, what was on a late Sunday evening. I went back to the railway station after I brought my luggage to the hotel, because like I already mentioned earlier in the video, this trip is a part of an organized tour. There's also a piano in the main railway station hall, and right next to that you find the entrance for the ticket counters for the mainline trains, so the SBB. There are also elevators at this part of the railway station, and the staircase is beautiful over here. Well, I think you have an impression about this railway station, and if you have any questions, just let me know in the comments.
That's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did so, once again, give me a thumbs up on YouTube. And if you'd like to see more trip reports of more sustainable ways of transportation, mainly focusing on cross-borderings or international and or long distance travel, then hit that subscribe button. See you on the next video.
Once again, thank you for watching. If you liked this video, please give me a thumbs up. If you'd like to see other trip reports, of course you can find them on this channel. But something else you find in the description of this video is a link to a map. And on this map you can find all trip reports. See you on the next video.